Okay, thank you everybody for coming in tonight. We're going to start our program shortly. I just wanted to welcome everyone to our 17th Azure Government Meetup. This is a free, open community organized by everyone here. And so we welcome your contributions throughout this program tonight. So before we begin, I wanted to remind everybody that we are live broadcasting this session tonight, and that it will be posted on YouTube. So for those in the back who want to have conversations, unfortunately our friends will hear your conversations. So please keep the noise to a minimum. And we'll have time afterwards to network. And of course, we already have the Azure Gov Meetup platform for questions afterwards and engagement with your fellow community folks. So before we begin, I also want to thank Tina Meek, who does a lot of work setting these up. And we are thankful that we have meetups already set up throughout the year. I think we're now set to do these until this time next year, so it's exciting stuff. Let's see. So we like to always begin on why are we here. We thought we'd create a user community in Azure in government in this market space, given that we had just launched Azure Government 2 years ago, and now I look at our co-organizer, Vishwas, and then also to introduce myself. My name is Karina Homme. I'm the founder of this user group, but I work in Azure, Microsoft Azure Government Engineering Group based in Washington, D.C. My whole objective is just get people to try and the platform and create a community around what we're doing, which is solving government problems and challenges and creating new things for citizens. So Vishwas, this is your favorite slide, so I'll invite you up to talk about it.
Yeah, this is my favorite slide, and I would not repeat. For those who have heard me say this, I would try something new. But so, you know, when we started this user group, at the time the services were limited. I don't need to say this again. All you have to do is go through the Azure Gov blog. Just look at the updates just in the month of June. And things like cognitive services, and of course we are going to talk about IoT, are all there. And I think the momentum has shifted from asking for more features, from actually the community building new solutions and then providing feedback. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, and we're actually going to talk about those in the next slide. But before we do, we want to talk about what our agenda is tonight, and tonight we're going to talk about IoT strategies for government, and we have a couple of great speakers. Mike Baker, he's a solution architect, cloud solution architect for Microsoft. He's been doing a lot of great work in the IoT space, and he'll talk about kind of what's new and what we're doing in government. And then we've got Chris Cyrus from Docker. He's the vice president for public sector. He's had over 15 years in public sector work in open source. So we're excited to hear from him on how we can modernize applications, leveraging these IoT kind of container strategies. And then Andrew Weiss, he's a lead sales engineer for Docker as well. He's done a lot of great work in the public sector tech community and a great dev evangelist for containers, all things open source, and tech in general. And he actually has been a great evangelist in Azure and expert in kind of what we're doing here. So welcome them, and we're looking forward to hearing more about it later on.
I was going to say that Andrew is not considered a guest speaker here because
Yes.
he was one of the founding speakers, came along many times. So we are glad to see you back here, Andrew.
And we see a lot of your toys up here, and we're excited for what you're going to have to say. So with that, we talked about updates. So we do, again, we're going to share all this information with you. Right now, we've sent some links in here of our blogs. If you haven't signed up already, you can sign up the RSS feed for our blog. And with that, you'll get all of the latest announcements as they happen. We blog pretty consistently, so as we are launching these new services into the Azure government product, you'll get them as well. So we're releasing every 38 hours. So you'll be kept up to date as we are actually innovating. So with that, we've got an amazing series on the cyber executive order and how agencies can respond and leverage our blueprint program to do so. And then we just announced our CSP cloud solution provider program so that partners can go direct and provide our cloud services, including pricing, including billing and solutioning and support. So that's exciting. And we'll talk a lot about that during our Inspire event in July. Along with that, and why we're here tonight, is our launch of IoT Hub. So that's exciting news for us. There are a couple of upcoming events for those who are in the partner community. Inspire kicks off on the 9th of July. And we also have a specialized custom event for just contractors working on IoT solutions in the government market. So that's July 11th, and it's free and open for anyone. Washington Technology is actually hosting that. We've got a great IoT author who's going to kick it off, and a couple agencies. I believe it's State Department and CBP who will be speaking. So check that out. And then for the IT pros and developers, we've got Microsoft Ignite Innovation in September. And lastly, for just those working in the government space, we have a Microsoft Cloud Forum every year, and this time will be October 17th. So, and with that, here's just to check out since this is IoT, the IoT big event. This will be 150 contractors in the market that will come together to hear kind of what government is doing directly from government, and also kind of what the latest kind of thought leadership directly from our Azure IoT general manager, of the product team. So one thing we announced on our last meetup is the Azure Rockstars. So this is the first time we're announcing a Rockstar. This is somebody who's doing great things in the Azure platform. This came about because we had launched our first Azure Government Hackfest. And I would like to invite Steve McElottie, who's our dev evangelist for Azure Government Engineering, to talk about why we chose to highlight Jonathan Ekman, right?
Yep. Yeah, so as Karina said, Jonathan is our first Azure Government Rockstar, and he actually came out of our Hackfest, as she mentioned. So a couple of weeks ago, we had an Azure Government Hackfest in DC, where we had about 100 developers and IT pros come together. First day was training, second day was actually hands-on Hackfest challenges. And his team, he led his team, and they were the clear number one. His team won the Hackfest, actually, and they did some pretty innovative things. They were using PaaS for their solution. They were using IaaS, a platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. They had deployment pipelines, a CI/CD pipeline. They were using ARM templates to automate this stuff. They were doing all of this on the Azure Gov platform, and they did it within 1 day of work. So it was really impressive what their team accomplished. Jonathan's actually an AIS, Vishwas company. So we see a lot coming out of them. So he couldn't be here tonight. We like to publicly sort of acknowledge these people. And so if you know of people that are potential Azure Gov Rockstars, let us know. We want to be able to publicly acknowledge and highlight people that are doing contributions in the community and really standing out. In fact, we have another Hackfest coming up in August, a similar thing, DC area. Actually, we have two. We have one in Sacramento, California, and another one in the DC area. So we'll start putting the Eventbrite page out for that in the next week or so, if you're interested in joining us. The first one was a big success. So we hope to have more to come on this front in the future.
Thanks, Steve. So with that, please send me an email with your nominations for the next Rockstar. We would love to hear stories about people doing great things on the platform. And we'll have this posted so you have my contact information should you know someone just like this. With that, we'll start our program with Mike Baker.